Hello, welcome back. I'm Statman Dave, and today we're going to be taking a look at United's 07-08 tactics under Sir Alex Ferguson in Tactics Explained. This video is brought to you by Instat, our professional scouting platform. We've got some data from the 2008 Champions League final versus Chelsea, so stay tuned to that. If you want to check out Instat and you want to get involved with that, we've got an email address and a link in the description below if you want to get involved. The platform is sensational, but without further ado, let's get this party started. During his 26-year reign as Manchester United manager, Sir Alex Ferguson won 38 major trophies, including 5 FA Cups, 13 Premier Leagues and 2 Champions League titles. On his way to ending United's 26-year wait for a league title, receiving a knighthood and becoming the club's most successful manager, Sir Alex Ferguson built a series of great sides, notably the 1999 treble winners who won the FA Cup, Premier League and Champions League in the same season. But arguably his best side was the 2007-08 team that lifted the Premier League and Champions League double and would go on to become Ferguson's second side to win 3 consecutive league titles. But how did they set up? That season, United largely went out in a 4-4-2, with the best 11 being Edwin van der Sar in goal, Nemanja Vidic and Rio Ferdinand at centre-back, Patrice, Evra and Wes Brown at full-back, a central midfield pairing of Paul Scholes and Michael Carrick, flanked by Ryan Giggs and Cristiano Ronaldo, with Carlos Tevez and Wayne Rooney leading the line. Whilst this was the best 11, each opposition required a different game plan, and whilst we often saw tactical tweaks, such as a striker sacrificed for an extra midfielder, the system wouldn't change fundamentally. Combining Ferguson's approach of looking to exploit the opposition with intelligent and versatile players in his squad meant that trying to make a plan to stop United over 90 minutes was almost impossible. Even if the opposition created a counter for the initial tactics, Ferguson had enough varieties and the players were drilled enough that he could tweak the side to break the opposition's counter, or the players would unlock the door themselves with great decision making. This unpredictability when facing this Manchester United side was one of the key themes of Ferguson's philosophy. At the heart of everything United did on the pitch was balance, aggression, purpose and unpredictability. Balance in maintaining the structure of the side and not overcommitting in attack. Aggression both without the ball, in looking to regain possession, and with the ball by being direct. Purpose through quick, penetrative forward passes and off-the-ball runs. And unpredictability not just in the tactics, as we mentioned briefly before, but on the pitch in positional rotation and intelligent movements create new problems for the opposition. But let's talk tactics. Whilst this United team were deadly in attack, what made them champions was their ability to defend. In defence, when United lost possession, they'd look to counter-press aggressively in a man-to-man scheme. But if they couldn't win it back, they'd drop off to either their mid-block, either a 4-4-1-1 or a 4-1-4-1, depending on the opposition and their own personnel. From this position, they'd be disciplined in applying pressure, with usually at least one player pressurising at a time, but supported by the players around him. They do this so the opposition's midfield never had time on the ball and could force them into making mistakes, where they were vulnerable in their build-up shape. Mistakes that United were ready to punish on the counter-attack with pace and purpose, while still retaining players at the back, highlighted by their second goal away at Newcastle. Newcastle in possession with Nzogbia. He passes it inside to Barton, who looks to play wide. Rooney intercepts this pass. Carrick picks it up and turns away from Barton and carrying, splitting the Newcastle defence and putting Ronaldo in away to finish. Looking back at the goal when Nzogbia is in possession, he's Rooney's man, but instead of pressing early and opening up the passing behind him that Barton eventually looks to play, he holds the structure of the side, so as Carrick presses, both Rooney and Fletcher are ready to react, which allows Rooney to win the ball back. Then, because of their balance in maintaining their structure, when Carrick beats Barton, United have a 5-on-4 on the counter-attack. But the 07-08 team wasn't just good at punishing mistakes, they could force them to through their man-to-man counter-pressing. Take Wes Brown's goal against Liverpool. After a Liverpool corner, United are on the counter-attack with Anderson. His pass is cut out, but he regains the loose ball. It falls to Ronaldo, who's dispossessed by Fabio Aurelio. He looks for Gerrard, but Brown intercepts. With Anderson finding Scholes, Scholes shapes the shoot but pushes it wide for Rooney, who whips in a lovely cross for Brown to force home. Superb from the right back, but if we take a look back when he regains possession, the balance and structure of the side with Ferdinand, Vidic and Evra forming a back three, as well as Carrick ready to drop in, allows Brown to add that element of unpredictability to the attack, making himself a target in the box for Rooney's cross, where he outpowers the centre-backs who would be expecting to face maybe Rooney, Anderson or Ronaldo. That unpredictability on the counter-attack vitally important. And this was a big part of what made all Sir Alex Ferguson's teams so good, but especially for this Manchester United side in particular. The confidence he instills in the players by giving them the responsibility to go onto the pitch and change games. For Brown's goal against Liverpool, it wasn't part of the game plan, and Ferguson didn't have time to instruct him to join the attack and tell the other players to hold. Instead, the players read the situation and rotated to gain an advantage. And this freedom is present throughout United's possession play too. They largely built in a 2-2-4-2, but the shape was very fluid, with players dropping off, and it could become a 3-1-2-1-3. This structure will allow United to stretch the pitch vertically, with the forwards playing on the last line and looking to get in behind. Earlier on in games as well, United would look to exploit this by sending long balls over the top for the forwards. What this would do would pin the opposition's defence and open space off the line for the strikers to drop into to receive to feet. Then, if defenders tried to stop this, they'd be vulnerable for the balls over the top. Whilst this is a dangerous situation for the opposition to be in, United could only employ this tactic because of how expansive their base was. We saw this in United's opener at St James's Park. After recovering the ball, Vidic is in possession. He plays a 1-2 with Ferdinand and then carries into the Newcastle's half unchallenged, as he isolates Ronaldo out wide with Bay for the number 7 to chop and cross for Rooney at the back post. But if we take it back, you can see how positionally fluid and expansive the play is, which caused the Magpies a number of problems. As Vidic carries, Ronaldo drops off and Evra moves forward. This causes a mix-up between Milner and Bay, opening the space for Ronaldo to exploit thanks to that Vidic pinpoint pass. Then it's all about the cross for Rooney, which is excellent. With excellent ball players at the base of this side, United were always able to pass forward with purpose, breaking lines with penetrative passes into the feet of the strikers, who could go on and damage the opposition. The perfect example of this is Ronaldo's towering header against Roma. The goal comes after 20 passes, and we'll pick it up with Brown in possession on halfway with 14 passes to go. He passes sideways to Carrick, who gives it to Anderson. Anderson retains and gives it back to O'Shea, who plays it back to Carrick. He then plays a 1-2 with Scholes and a 1-2 with Park, who comes off the line, drawing the Roman midfield out. He then combines with Anderson and finds O'Shea, who's got time to break the lines. Rooney turns the defender and attacks the defence, playing Scholes out wide, who hangs the ball up for Ronaldo to smash home. A wonderfully worked goal, but in it we see Anderson rotate positions with Scholes and Rooney coming off the line. Then Park comes off, Ronaldo drops deep, all before Rooney receives, at which point you think Rooney had just one possession back and United are counter-attacking. Such efficiency that dispatched Roma. This was United playing with caution, as we often saw in the Champions League, but against the weaker sides, United's midfield became a lot more box-to-box, often with one of the central midfielders playing forward, then moving into number 10 or making an underlap. This extra body to deal with often created space for the front four to exploit, or alternatively, if nobody picked them up, they could receive and have time and space to pick up a pass. This variety in their build-up and aim to play with purpose meant United's opponents had to focus for 90 minutes to keep them at bay, which, as you can imagine, rarely happened, with Fergie's men scoring in 92% of their Premier League games that season. But where the variety and unpredictability shone was in attack. The big thing people remember about this Manchester United team were the counter-attacks, and whilst they were lethal on the break, they were just as deadly from open play. They largely attacked in a 2-3-5, with a far side fullback in the band of three, ready to supplement the attack or drop into the defence. The main method of structured chance creation was through crosses. When in the crossing position, often with a fullback in possession, United would load 3 players in the box. One would attack the near post to draw in the centre-back and the attention of the goalkeeper, and the other 2 would be fluid, with either attacking the back post, the penalty spot, or waiting for the cutback on the edge. This gave the crossers targets, knowing that regardless of the cross, as long as it was good, someone would be attacking it. But if the cross didn't go in, the forwards wouldn't stay static. Instead, they'd make second movements and attack different areas of the box. This made the forwards so difficult to pick up and allowed United to score so many goals from their crossing structure, summed up by their 4th goal against Wigan. After Wigan clear a cross, Scholes is in possession. He plays a 1-2 with Ronaldo and waits for the overlap. It gives it to Simpson, who sends in a cross for Rooney to finish at the back post. The goal not only comes from the fluid forward play, but when Ronaldo attacks the front post, he pulls the attention of both centre-backs and Kirkland, so Rooney almost has an open goal. But it was all about the interplay between the front four, notably Rooney, Ronaldo and Tevez. That season they scored the bulk of United's goals, with 71% of their Premier League goals coming from the trio. This was the case because of the versatility of the trio. All of the three of United's top scorers could play up front as a second striker or on either flank. What this meant was their ability to rotate positions freely, and their tireless running and clever movement. It was almost impossible for them to be man-marked, leaving them free to score goals. The composition of the three was really interesting. Rooney and Tevez provided the energy and pressing from the front and often made runs from in to out to create space centrally for the wingers to drive into. No winger exploited this better than Cristiano Ronaldo. Whilst playing on the wings, Ronaldo was a complete wide player, capable of both operating as a winger, linking with the fullback and creating for teammates while also scoring goals. Nothing summed this completeness up better than his performance in the Champions League final in 2008 against Chelsea. On the pitch, he played a dual role, an inverted winger in the wide areas to dribble and link up with Evra, as well as an inside forward tasked at getting on the back post to beat Essien in the air. Using the data from Instat, his game by numbers paints a picture. On the pitch, he topped. Passes into the final third, passes into the area, fouls suffered, crosses, key passes, dribbles, shots taken for Manchester United, had the fourth most actions on the pitch. Instat's match report for this game makes for interesting reading and really highlights United's game plan to get at Essien. Looking at Ronaldo's pass distribution and United's frequent pass combinations, you can really see the focus on getting Ronaldo involved, but also the link up with Evra and the Portuguese international. Also looking at United's key passes, Ronaldo creates two of the three big opportunities. Unsurprisingly, Instat rated Ronaldo as the best player on the pitch with a 3.63 rating, far better than the next player. But if you want to see more from Instat, there'll be a link in the description below and an email address for our contact if you want to go and check them out and get yourself logged into Instat. I'd recommend it highly, it's a banging platform. But overall, Ronaldo had a real variety in his goals, ranging from arriving late at the back post for simple tap-ins, to more complete driving runs before cutting inside to shoot. On top of this open play game, Ronaldo was a master of the dead ball situation. In the Premier League that season, Ronaldo scored 80% of his penalties, but also more free kicks than any other player in the competition. This completeness to his attacking game saw Ronaldo become unstoppable, taking a shot every 16 minutes in the Premier League. The trio of Ronaldo, Rooney and Tevez clicked perfectly, with two goal scorers in Ronaldo and Tevez and an unselfish creator in Rooney. And their interplay in front of goal set them apart from other great front threes. Often they'd use 1-2s, third man runs to get in behind to score, showcased by United's third goal at home to Newcastle. Carrick in possession for United, who plays it to Rooney, who lays it off to Tevez, who slips in Ronaldo to finish, completely pulling apart the Newcastle defence. This unpredictability that keeps cropping up in United's play isn't by chance. Newly promoted first-team coach René Mullenstein recounted a conversation with Sir Alex Ferguson before the 2007-8 season. He was standing by a flip chart where he was scribbling notes down over 3 pages, one on defence, one talking about possession and one about attacking. When I see United attack, I want to see them attack with 4 things: pace, power, penetration and unpredictability. Bang, bang, bang. He spoke in the same way he wanted his team to play. Watching this team, it's clear that Mullenstein turned Ferguson's wants into reality, making everything about them quick and direct and unpredictable. But whilst the coaching was there, they wouldn't have dominated European football without the right personnel. The best 11 that we mentioned earlier on had a bit of everything. Every player worked hard, none more than the front two. Rooney and Tevez were fighters. They'd never stopped working for the team, both through pressing, with and without the ball, but also movement off it. But also you're looking at covering Ronaldo. If Ronaldo was staying high up the pitch, one of those players would move over into the wide position and work hard. Both were happy to drop off the line as well, both had the place to run the channels, but Rooney's physicality and defensive awareness made the side truly tick. A complete forward. Not only did he sacrifice his goal scoring for setting up his teammates, registering more assists than any other Manchester United player that season, but United lost just twice in all competitions when Rooney played, winning 77% of those matches. What's more is the versatility of the pair meant that they could facilitate a front three with Ronaldo, or return to a 4-4-2 with Ronaldo up front for more of a counter-attacking threat, with one of Rooney or Tevez on the flanks. In fact, Ferguson used Rooney in this exact role away at Newcastle to nullify James Milner, with United winning that game 5-1 and Rooney being directly involved in 3 goals. But on top of that versatile star three, Sir Alex had built a squad that could nullify almost every opponent's weapons and further vary how his side attacked. In the bigger games, you'd often see more energy in midfield, with either Anderson or Fletcher drafted in, or if the opposition had dangerous wingers or wing-backs, Ferguson could shut them down by drafting in Owen Hargreaves or Park Ji-sung, like in the final of the Champions League or semi-final in the Champions League, respectively, for both of those players. And if he was worried about the opposition's aerial threat, John O'Shea could come in at left-back, whilst if he wanted to play 2 flying wingers, Nani could play opposite Ronaldo, or a little bit more guile, then he could return Ryan Giggs to the left-hand side. But what's more is each of these players could be and were used in a variety of positions without losing the pace, power, penetration and unpredictability that Ferguson wanted of his Manchester United side. This United side were the best team to play in the Premier League, a complete side with a variety but consistency, and the last team to win both the Premier League and Champions League in the same season. But anyway guys, what do you think? Is this Ferguson's best ever side, and were they the best team to ever play in the Premier League? Get involved in the poll above and the comments below. I've been Statman Dave. Subscribe if you're new. If you want to check out Instat as well, they are an unbelievable scouting platform. Jump into the link in the description below or email our friend over at Instat. Thanks for watching guys, we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, why not check out some more content on the Statman Dave YouTube channel.